Welcome to ETHDam, to ETHDam, to ETHDam, to ETHDam, to ETHDam.
Hello everyone, my name is Rosco. I'm the founder of Revoke.cash, which is a platform for managing your... Hello? Which is a platform for managing your token approvals. Let me get... I'm gonna hurry it up because I know it's a short talk. As a short recap, whenever you're using DeFi, whenever you're swapping tokens, selling NFTs, staking, any of those things, you have to give access to the application so that they can take your tokens. Let's say if you want to sell your NFT, you give access to that NFT so that OpenSea can sell it on your behalf. If you use a lot of crypto, then you might have dozens of these apps that have access to your money. That's where you can use Revoke to manage that access. Today I'm going to talk about getting scammed online through phishing websites and the likes. This is a report from 2023. I don't have the 24 report yet, but this says that at least 300 million was stolen from at least 320,000 people in 2023. So that's a pretty big problem. And a lot of times, people don't even really know how it happened. So they click a link, they do something on some phishing website, but a lot of times people come into our Discord for support, and they just send us their wallet that looks like this, where they just lost $1 million, and they're like, okay, well, what happened here? And then it's usually it's up to us to tell them what happened. But I hope with this presentation, I can help you guys understand what might have happened and how to diagnose that. So yeah, there's a few different classes of getting scammed online with crypto. And I'm going to go through the most common ones. And I'm going to start off with the seed phrase compromise, because that's the most destructive thing that can happen to your crypto wallet, essentially. If your seed phrase is compromised, if someone else has access to that seed phrase, then there's no coming back from that, because you cannot make them forget that they have access to your seed phrase. And we'll start off with how do you diagnose this, because you're coming to us, you have this drop in your net worth, and how to diagnose that your seed phrase has been compromised is that, most importantly, is that all of your assets, or at least almost all of your assets, get stolen pretty quickly. So if you're using multiple blockchains and multiple tokens, NFTs on those blockchains, then if all of those get stolen, including the native gas tokens like ETH or BNB on BNB chain, that is kind of the biggest indicator that your seed phrase has been compromised. To be really, really sure, usually you can send a few dollars worth of ETH or worth of BNB to the wallet, and if it gets stolen immediately, then you really know 100% this is a seed phrase compromise. What to do? Like I said, there's really, really no way to regain control of this wallet, unfortunately. What you should do, though, is make sure that this compromise wasn't due to malware, or if it was, make sure that you get rid of that malware. So that means either running some antivirus, or if you're really unsure, resetting your entire computer. That's the nuclear option, but sometimes that's what it is. After that, create a completely new wallet, new seed phrase, new everything. And if there's any remaining assets whatsoever that the scammer just forgot about, try to rescue that. There are some services like Flashbots that do help with like unstaking tokens and getting those out of the wallet before the scammer can get it, those kind of things. But yeah, that's kind of the next steps when your seed phrase is compromised. How to prevent this? The biggest thing is using a hardware wallet. A hardware wallet just makes sure that your seed phrase stays on that device, and even if your computer is compromised, even if you have a virus on your computer or whatever, your seed phrase stays safe on that wallet, even if you connect it to your computer, those kind of things. So use a hardware wallet. Then The second class, so the other classes that we're going to talk about now, there's always a way to regain control of your wallet. The only super destructive thing that can happen is losing your seed phrase or losing, getting your seed phrase compromised by a scammer. So don't do that. Then the other thing is token approvals. Like I said, this is like giving you access to your money. And oftentimes, if you go to a phishing website, there's this big button that says, click here to claim an airdrop, or click here to do some amazing thing and get rich. But then actually, you're giving them token approvals to some of the valuable tokens in your wallet. And you can diagnose this usually because it's a single kind of token on a single network. So maybe only your USDC or only your pudgy penguins. And if you check Revoke.cash, you will see these approvals show up in there if you sort by most recently. So what to do about that is revoke the token approvals. There's no way to regain any lost assets. If they're stolen, they're stolen. But you do want to make sure that the scammer doesn't keep that access, that the next time you have the USDC in your wallet again, it doesn't get stolen again. And that's why you revoke token approvals after something like that happens. And how do we prevent it? There's no real silver bullet for token approval specifically, but in general, how do you prevent getting scammed through these phishing websites is just really making sure that you double check every URL you interact with. And if there are websites like Uniswap or OpenSea or Revoke that you visit frequently, use bookmarks and just check that little star in the top right corner to make sure that you are on the right website when you expect to be on the right website. And then there are some security-focused browser extensions. With Revoke, we have one, but there are other options like Kerberos or Pocket Universe. And what these extensions do is that they kind of give you this pop-up with some more information about what you're about to sign. So if you click this big button that says claim your airdrop, and then you get this pop-up that says, hey, actually, you're giving a token approval, then hopefully that makes you think and stop and figure out that you're being scammed before you hit that confirm button. Then the third class of scams is the marketplace signatures. And this is another pretty destructive scam, because they are able to steal all the tokens that you have approvals for to some marketplace, like to OpenSea. Let's say you trade a lot of NFTs, you have approvals for your pudgy penguins, your bored apes, USDC, Rept.eth, a bunch of these things because you're actively trading a lot. Then what they can do is trick you into signing a so-called like an NFT listing, where you list all of those approved assets for sale and you get 0 ETH in return. And how do we diagnose that? Like I said, usually you lose a lot of different tokens and NFTs on a single chain. And if you look at the transaction in a block explorer, it usually mentions the name of the marketplace. It says OpenSea or Blur or something like that. And what to do about this? There's nothing that you need to do to get control of your wallet back, because this is a single-use scam. So they steal whatever you had, and after that, they don't keep that access. So that's the good news. You can just continue using your wallet. But how do you prevent this? I think the biggest thing is revoking unused marketplace approvals, because oftentimes, maybe if you have like 5 bored apes in your wallet, you want to sell one, you give access to everything. And after you sell that one bored ape, but you still have 4 left, months later, you might get scammed and lose all those NFTs. So I think the advice here is to just make sure that once you're done with token approvals, revoke them. And again, the sort of general advice that I said before, checking the URL, using bookmarks, using security browser extensions, that still applies here as well. And then the fourth class that we're talking about is just direct transfers. So these other ones are more destructive generally, because with token approvals, they keep the access. With NFT or with marketplace scams, they can steal a lot of assets at the same time. And usually what scammers do is they just check which one of these methods is going to make them the most money. And as a fallback, if none of these other ones are available, they'll just ask you to transfer money directly to them. So Let's say you have a bunch of ETH, but no NFTs and no approvals and nothing like that. Then when you click that button again that says claim your airdrop, you're actually sending all of your ETH to them. And we diagnose this because it's always one kind of asset stolen on a single network. There's no other symptoms, so you don't see any approvals on Revoke. You don't see like marketplaces mentioned. And oftentimes they have like this masked hidden name where it says something like claim or security updates or even like claim airdrop. So if you see it in your wallet, it might look like you're doing something legit. And so those are the kind of things that you have to look out for. And again, just like with marketplace approvals, what you can do is continue using your wallet because this is just a single-use scam. They don't keep access. And how to prevent it is just the same general advice of being very, very careful what you actually sign. These are sort of the four main scams that we see on a regular basis, or the main sort of methods that scammers use. But oftentimes, they might use different combinations of different scams. So if they see that you have a lot of open approvals to OpenSea, then they start off with that, with the marketplace scam. Then if you keep clicking, they're gonna look for other ways to keep scamming you for more. So then they might also ask you to send them all your ETH, and so on and so forth. So this may sometimes look like a seed phrase compromise because you're losing a bunch of different assets. But you can usually also find symptoms of other scams. So you might see transactions that mention the marketplace. You might see some approvals on Revoke.cash. And the biggest thing is that when you do send a few dollars worth of the native token, worth of ETH to that wallet, it stays in there. So when we discussed seed phrase compromise at the start, we said if you really want to be sure that it is that, you send some money there. If it gets stolen again, it's a seed phrase compromise. In this case, if it doesn't get stolen again, it's not a seed phrase compromise, and it's a combination of any of these others. There's a few other less common scam methods. I think address poisoning is one that might be getting graduated up to the common scams as well sometime soon, because we do see it quite often recently. And this is where where scammers see that you're sending some money to like an exchange, and then they generate an address that looks kind of similar to that wallet and make it seem like that's where you sent your money by creating a fake token and creating fake transfer events for that fake token that shows that you're sending to this other address. So when you copy that over from your Block Explorer, for example, then you will see you'll accidentally maybe copy the wrong thing and send it to a scammer. Spam tokens is another one. Usually, I think if you use Ethereum, you've had a lot of these where you just get an airdrop in your wallet that says something like visit somewebsite.com. And the trick there is that they want you to visit that website, and that's where they apply any of these other scams that we talked about. Another third one is fake approvals. This is something where they try to hijack the revoke method of some fake tokens and scam you in that way. If you're using Revoke, this is not something that you have to worry about because we have all kinds of safeguards against this. But we have seen that other approvals platforms like the one of BNB Scan or Etherscan can sometimes be vulnerable to this. So definitely make sure that whatever you're revoking on those platforms, you kind of know what the token is, or better yet, just use Revoke. This is a sort of flow chart that kind of goes over what we just discussed. This is also on the Revoke.cash website in the FAQ. So make sure to check that out. And if you're on there, we also have a sort of an article form of the things that I just went over, so you can read through everything in your own time to just make sure that you kind of know how to prevent getting scammed and what to do if you do end up getting scammed. Oh, that was... Thank you for your time. This is...
Thank you very much, Rosco, on telling us how to identify scams and how to, find out if you can still use the wallet that already got scammed, because that's very important. Are there any questions? No? Okay, we'll take one question, please. Yeah.
If I understand, then you can't get money back, crypto back. That is not possible. But you have people who say, I can revoke it back the transactions. What is your opinion?
Yeah, so generally when, let's say you're on Twitter and you share your story, or you're in some Discord and you're asking for support, then sometimes there's people that say, yeah, I can help you get it all back. But generally these are scammers, and they are trying to steal even more of your money because they know you're in a vulnerable state. You'll maybe slip up and
sorry. They usually always ask for your seed phrase as well. So if they do that, then you can immediately know they are not trustworthy.
Exactly.
All right, another round of applause for Rosco and.